Welcome to our exploration of 6 false teachings of God you need to ignore. In this video, we delve into commonly accepted religious doctrines that may not align with the deeper, more inclusive, and compassionate principles that many faiths aspire to uphold. These teachings have profound implications, influencing personal beliefs and societal norms, and it's crucial to examine their validity and impact on our spiritual and communal lives. Challenging these teachings is essential not only for personal spiritual growth, but also for fostering a more inclusive and understanding community. By questioning interpretations that may lead to exclusion, fear, or misinformation, we can open the door to a more empathetic and scientifically compatible approach to spirituality. This process allows for a faith experience that supports personal and communal well-being, harmonizing with modern values and insights. In this video, we will address 6 specific teachings. The prosperity gospel, which equates divine favor with financial success. The notion that salvation is exclusive to specific groups. The use of fear in converting believers. Anti-science attitudes. Gender inequality as a divine mandate, and the requirement for unquestioning obedience to religious leaders. Join us as we unpack these concepts, exploring why they may not be as grounded in sacred texts as often claimed, and how we can approach faith with a critical and open heart. The first false teaching is the prosperity gospel. The prosperity gospel is a theological belief that financial blessing and physical well-being are always the will of God for His followers, and that faith, positive speech, and donations to religious causes will increase one's material wealth. Promoted by many high-profile preachers, this doctrine suggests that success and health are signs of God's favor, while poverty and sickness are a result of lack of faith. However, this interpretation can be misleading as it simplifies the complex relationship between divine favor and human circumstances. It often leads to a transactional view of faith, where blessings are earned through monetary gifts or positive confessions. This can exploit believers, prioritizing wealth accumulation and causing guilt and self-blame among those who struggle financially or health-wise, contrary to the more holistic, compassionate views of many religious traditions. Scriptures offer a more nuanced perspective on wealth and well-being. For instance, in the Bible, Jesus mentions that it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. Matthew 19:24. This and many other passages warn against the idolatry of wealth and encourage a focus on spiritual riches and acts of kindness. Such texts highlight the dangers of equating material wealth with divine approval, urging a balanced approach to faith and prosperity. The second false teaching is exclusivity in salvation. The notion of exclusivity in salvation is a teaching found in some religious circles, which asserts that salvation, eternal happiness or liberation, is confined to adherents of a specific faith or denomination. This belief often declares that one particular path is the true or only way to achieve spiritual fulfillment and eternal peace, marginalizing all other belief systems as incorrect or inferior. Contrary to this exclusive viewpoint, many spiritual texts promote a message of inclusivity. For example, the Bible's New Testament speaks of God's love for all people and the potential for salvation to be extended to all who act righteously, regardless of their specific beliefs. Acts 10:34-35. Similarly, other religious texts emphasize compassion, righteous action, and the universal search for truth as foundational to spiritual well-being, suggesting that salvation may not be as narrowly defined as some might claim. The impact of preaching exclusivity can be divisive, fostering segregation and even conflict between different religious groups. It can also lead to spiritual distress within individuals who feel alienated from family or community because of differing beliefs. Promoting a more inclusive understanding of salvation can not only enrich personal spirituality, by embracing a broader view of human experience, but also enhance societal harmony by encouraging acceptance and dialogue across different faiths. The third false teaching is fear-based conversion. Fear-based conversions are a tactic employed by some religious groups that use the threat of eternal punishment or existential dread as primary motivators for embracing their beliefs. This approach often involves vivid descriptions of negative afterlife scenarios or catastrophic world events that can only be avoided through specific religious adherence. By tapping into primal fears, leaders can coerce individuals into a faith practice not out of love or genuine belief, but out of a desperate need to avoid perceived imminent danger. The psychological impact of this method can be profound and damaging. Individuals converted through fear may experience increased anxiety, guilt, and a sense of compulsion rather than genuine spiritual fulfillment. Societally, this tactic can lead to divisive and fear-driven communities where dogmatism reigns over open dialogue and critical thinking, stymieing both personal and communal growth and fostering an environment of paranoia and exclusion. Instead, fostering a faith based on love, compassion, and understanding can lead to more sustainable and deeply rooted spiritual experiences. Emphasizing the positive aspects of spiritual teachings, such as community support, ethical living, and personal peace, invites individuals to convert out of genuine affinity and agreement with the faith's values. This approach not only promotes healthier psychological states, but also cultivates a more inclusive and supportive community atmosphere, encouraging spiritual exploration and growth based on mutual respect and kindness. The next false teaching encompasses a bunch of anti-science-driven beliefs. Anti-science beliefs in religious contexts often arise from a perceived conflict between scriptural interpretations and scientific discoveries. Common examples include the rejection of evolutionary theory, denial of climate change, and skepticism towards medical science, such as vaccinations and mental health treatments. These stances are typically based on literal interpretations of sacred texts, which some believers feel are in direct opposition to scientific findings, leading to a dismissal of modern science as contradictory to religious truth. However, many theologians and scholars advocate for a reconciliation between faith and science, arguing that both realms explore different aspects of human experience and reality. They suggest that science and religion can coexist by understanding that religious texts often use metaphorical language not meant to be taken as scientific fact, and by viewing scientific discovery as a way to appreciate the complexity and beauty of the creation, enhancing rather than diminishing spiritual beliefs. Numerous religious figures have supported and advanced the cause of science, demonstrating that faith and science need not be at odds. Historical figures, like Gregor Mendel, the father of modern genetics, who was also an Augustinian monk, and contemporary leaders like the Dalai Lama, who actively promotes a dialogue between Buddhism and scientific research, illustrate how religious belief can harmonize with scientific inquiry. These examples show that embracing science can enrich faith, providing a more comprehensive understanding of the universe and our place within it. The fifth false teaching is gender inequality. Gender inequality in religious teachings often manifests as doctrines that assign different roles, rights, and values to individuals based solely on their gender. Historically, this has included limiting leadership roles within religious communities to men, prescribing submissive roles for women, and using sacred texts to justify these distinctions. Such teachings assert that these gender roles are divinely ordained and immutable, thereby institutionalizing inequality. However, many contradictions exist within religious texts themselves concerning gender roles. For instance, while some passages in the Bible seem to endorse a patriarchal social order, others celebrate influential women leaders and prophets, such as Deborah and Esther, suggesting a more nuanced approach to gender that has been historically overlooked. These contradictions indicate that the interpretation of texts can evolve and might be influenced by the cultural contexts in which they are read. In recent times, there has been a significant shift towards more egalitarian views within many religious traditions. This includes the ordination of women as priests and rabbis in various denominations, reinterpreting texts to highlight themes of equality and justice, and active religious movements advocating for gender parity. These modern interpretations and reforms reflect a growing recognition that spiritual leadership and value should not be contingent upon gender, aligning religious practice more closely with contemporary understandings of equality and human rights. Our final false teaching is unquestioning obedience to religious leaders. Unquestioning obedience to religious leaders is a doctrine that mandates followers to comply with the directives of spiritual authorities without critique or personal judgment. This teaching can be dangerous, as it places immense power in the hands of few and may lead to the abuse of that power. Historically, such blind obedience has resulted in significant harms, including financial exploitation, psychological abuse, and the perpetration of large-scale atrocities under the guise of divine mandate. Encouraging independent thought and spiritual discernment offers a healthier, more sustainable approach to religious practice. This involves teaching adherents to weigh religious teachings against their own experiences and understanding, and to consult a range of interpretations before forming beliefs. Such a model fosters a more robust faith community where members support each other's spiritual growth and hold leaders accountable, reducing the likelihood of exploitation and abuse. Historical examples of the consequences of unquestioning obedience are numerous and stark, from the Jonestown Massacre to the more recent abuses in various religious institutions worldwide. Conversely, contemporary movements within many faiths now promote principles of transparency, accountability, and inclusivity, reflecting a shift towards recognizing the importance of individual agency in spiritual matters. These changes demonstrate a growing awareness of the risks associated with authoritarian religious structures and the benefits of a more questioning and engaged form of religious adherence. As we conclude our exploration of these 6 false teachings, we encourage you to seek a personal understanding of your faith, reflect on the teachings and doctrines you follow, and consider how they align with your experiences and values. Spirituality is deeply personal, and cultivating a faith that is thoughtful and questioning can lead to more meaningful and fulfilling spiritual experiences. Thank you for watching and engaging with this content. Your presence and willingness to delve into these complex topics are what make our community so vibrant and diverse. We hope this discussion has sparked new thoughts and perspectives for you. Please feel free to leave your comments below. Share your experiences, thoughts, and any disagreements you might have. Let's keep the conversation going and learn from each other's insights and spiritual journeys. Remember, the goal is not to agree on everything, but to grow through respectful and open-minded dialogue. Keep seeking, keep growing, and until next time, stay connected.